Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some freaking money. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Jo here at SportsGrid. It is Monday, January 13th. We are live here for Puck It with Jo on SportsGrid TV on X. I want to thank each and every single one of you for joining me here today. Now, small slate out there on the ice, and rightly so. We have a massive game in a wild card tonight between the Vikings and the Rams. So we've got 3 games that we can still bet on out there on the ice. Let's make some freaking money. Happy Monday to each and every one of you. We're going to kick it off with the Florida Panthers taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, interesting matchup here because we look at the Florida Panthers. They are in a look ahead. They have the New Jersey Devils on deck. We talked about teams in look ahead situations, but they are off a loss in overtime to the Boston Bruins. I'm expecting the best out of the Florida Panthers, at least to start this game. I'm going to look at Florida in the first period. Now, currently, FanDuel is not being nice. So they have everything locked except for the totals and the sides and the puck line. So I can't dive into first periods, but I will be giving you those first period bets. You guys know, as long as you're getting great value there, that's where I will be jumping. Now, I'm not looking at the first period over 1.5. I will look at the Florida Panthers on the puck line in the first period. They're minus 194 favorite going into this straight up on the money line, plus 160 here for the Flyers, and a total of 5.5. The juice to the total is on the over 5.5 at minus 132. What I'm going to do in this one, as soon as it opens up on FanDuel, I'm going to take the puck line first period here for the Florida Panthers. You don't want to take the money line. The money line is going to be close to the money line for the full game, probably sitting right around the minus 160 mark. The puck line for the first period for them, we should be getting plus money. So jump in on the puck line for the first period, laying the half a goal for the Florida Panthers. But then I will look for the Philadelphia Flyers to come back in this game. Yes, they have a look-ahead situation with the St. Louis Blues on deck, but it's not as big as the Florida Panthers looking ahead to the New Jersey Devils. So the Florida Panthers, Bobrovsky or Spencer Knight tonight. I'm expecting Spencer Knight. I do think they save Bobrovsky for tomorrow facing the Devils. That's a huge matchup with the Devils on deck for them. And yes, they're off that overtime loss to the Bruins. That was an overtime loss at home 4-3. So I think we get the best out of them in the first period. The Flyers are rolling in here with confidence. The Flyers are coming off that complete shellacking of the Anaheim Ducks. They were able to get to the 6-0 win. Again, first night of a back-to-back. They're at Columbus tomorrow. So first night of back-to-back, road trip on deck to Columbus. It's a 3-game road trip on deck. So that is a look-ahead situation as well. But I think the Flyers will look to continue rolling with momentum off their last win. This team is 8th in the Metro. They cannot look ahead to that road trip tomorrow. So give me the Florida Panthers first period puck line, but then give me the Flyers to come back. Now, the Flyers coming into this one, if you do think Florida is going to completely overlook Philadelphia to start this game, I would if they would have won that game versus Boston. But with them losing that game, I just can't see it. I think first period we get enough out of the Flyers. Matthew Tkachuk fighting the back of the net. But right now it's plus 1.5 for the Flyers at minus 162. Of course, we don't want to take that juice. But once this game gets underway, if the Panthers score first, as I expect, jumping back in on the Flyers, plus 1.5 should be right around minus 100, if not plus money. Also, the money line coming into this plus 160. I think the Flyers have every ability to win. This is the team that's going to be digging deeper in that third period. If they're down, could they push it to overtime? Well, Florida does not want to go to overtime. I can tell you that with the Devils on deck. But we could see a situation where the Flyers are able to do so. So I would look at the Flyers on the money line after they go down. So we should be getting about plus 250 for the Philadelphia Flyers, if not even more. We know the overreaction on the lines for hockey is extreme. Looking at that total of 5.5, we've seen the Florida Panthers be really strong at locking down opponents that do not have winning records. So something to keep in mind. But when we've seen these teams, we have seen them trend to that over. Thank you so much. Let's make some freaking money today, you guys. It is a great day to make some money out there on the ice, even though I know all of our focuses will be on what Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings are able to do tonight. So make sure you check out the SportsGrid app for my Madden quickie. It will be up here shortly, my cup of Joe as well. Let's turn to the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, 2 meetings already. Calgary has won both of those. They were at home for both of those meetings. Going out here on the road. First night of a back-to-back for Calgary. Now they have 2 games versus the St. Louis Blues, both on the road. Tuesday and Thursday matchup. So first night of a back-to-back again for the Calgary Flames, rolling in here at the favorite. This line has moved, you guys, significantly. Calgary was like in a bettable range, minus 130-ish on that money line. Now minus 160. We got the Chicago Blackhawks at plus 132 there on the money line. Home dog. You guys know I love a home dog, but can the Chicago Blackhawks pull off the win here? Calgary's rolling in with momentum. They've won their last 2. They are able to get a nice win at home versus the LA Kings, really locking down. The Kings, for some reason, always struggle in Calgary versus the Flames. It could have been more of a look ahead to the Edmonton Oilers, who they will play tonight, because Edmonton always plays the Kings strong. So they maybe don't give as much effort versus Calgary. Unsure on the goaltending tonight, and this will determine where I really go with the Chicago Blackhawks. Wolf played the last game. He's listed as expected, but I'm expecting Dan Vladar and then Dustin Wolf to kick it off tomorrow versus the St. Louis Blues, but they could go in the opposite direction. Peter Mrazek expected here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, the Blackhawks have lost the last 2, but they played a really tough game versus the Edmonton Oilers, 4-3. So they were able to put those goals up on Edmonton in their last game out. They will be at the Predators on Thursday, then back home on Saturday versus the Vegas Golden Knights. We see the Calgary Flames sitting 5th in the Pacific. They've actually been quite a surprise this season, even though they traded away so many veteran players out here. This team has gone 5-3-2 in their last 10. They have struggled out there on the road. Remember, they had that huge losing streak on the road. We're able to break that versus the Predators out there a couple of weeks ago, but 6-8-4 on the road this season. And Chicago at home. Chicago's gone 9-12 in their last 10 games. So this team just been having those struggles. Tight games in some of these, but they are 2-8 in their last 10. I'm going to look at some goals to come in this one. I'm expecting both of these teams to be able to put up some goals. If we do see Dustin Wolf, I would look at Calgary in the first period there. He hasn't been as strong out there on the road, but I do think with what we've seen offensively out of Chicago, I think in that first period, Dustin Wolf will be able to stand tall between the pipes. If it is Dan Vladar, I will look for both teams to score in that first period. You're going to get great plus money on both teams to score. So it's either Calgary first period, if we see Dustin Wolf on the puck line laying a half a goal, and if we don't see and we see Dan Vladar, I will take both teams to score in the first period. The over 1.5 should be juice, probably right around that minus 140 mark. So you guys know that will be out of my range. Now, I do think the whole game, as long as it's Dan Vladar, will trend to that over. But we also seen Dustin Wolf be not able to allow some goals as well. So I want to put that out of the question for this full game to go over. Calgary has lost Connor Zary, which is going to be impactful for them in this one. But I'm looking for this offense off that low scoring game versus the LA Kings to really step up in this matchup versus Chicago, who doesn't put up much resistance defensively. And then when we look at the Chicago Blackhawks, you still got Connor Bedard, and he has been playing so strong over there, 38 points in 43 games. I would look at Tyler Bertuzzi, though, and Teravainen for the goals tonight. I think both of those guys can get on the board. I think we see Connor Bedard for the assist. Donato also has been strong. He's been able to get a goal in the last 2 games here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Sharakovich is where I'll look for the Calgary Flames here. For his point, you're getting great plus money. I'd look at him to come alive tonight as well as Huberdeau. So give me the team total of the Calgary Flames over. If we're getting a 3.5 for Calgary and still everything locked on FanDuel, 3.5 to the over for the Calgary Flames is where I will look in this one, as long as it's not more than minus 120-ish. You're siding with the Blackhawks with that plus money. I don't blame you. Jo, happy Monday to you as well. So let's look at the last game. We have the last game, the LA Kings. Off the loss to the Calgary Flames, low scoring, a defensive battle taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Now, this Edmonton Oilers team has been so strong at getting up in those first periods, but letting leads go like they did with the Chicago Blackhawks. They've had their struggles out there. Stuart Skinner, he has been pretty solid. Darcy Kemper on the other side here for the LA Kings. Now, the Edmonton Oilers know that they can get under the Kings' skin. We've seen them in the postseason, and they just dominate the Kings in the postseason. Regular season, though, a little bit more of a battle out here for Edmonton to get those wins. Darcy Kemper expected in net tonight for the LA Kings. And between Kemper, Kempe, and Kopitar, those three guys should be able to come out strong. I expect Kempe to be able to do his best in goal tonight. Kempe and Kopitar to be able to register those points on the board. Now, when we look at who I think will get the points, I would look at Kopitar for the assists and Kempe for the goal. Kempe has scored a goal in 4 of the Kings' last 5 games. So Kempe for the goal, Kopitar for the assist. But like I always do, if you just put both of them together for a point out there, you're going to get great plus money. The Kings are 1-6 in the last 7 meetings in Edmonton. So Edmonton really has held the upper hand, especially at home. They've won their last 5 at home. But looking at those lines, you guys, we're looking at a $2 favorite here for the Edmonton Oilers. The LA Kings are able to keep it tight as a dog. So plus 1.5 right now is minus 154. Not something I'm willing to jump on at that price. Plus 168 for a Kings team that struggled in Edmonton. Still not a way I want to go. Total of 5.5. Now the Kings want to lock down defensively. They want to play a game like they played versus the Calgary Flames, but against the Edmonton Oilers, we do see those goals come in. So I'm expecting this one to go over that total of 5.5. I'm not going to look at the first period, though. I do think we could have an explosive defensive first period where those guys from the blue line are really being impactful out there. And we see a lot of time in the neutral zone between these two teams. I'm going to look at this one to go to overtime, though. I do think we're a 3-2 situation in that third period, and then we see that extra goal pushing us over the total and pushing us to OT. So 4-3 style win here, I think it is for the Edmonton Oilers. If Edmonton is able to go up in that first period, I will be coming back in on the LA Kings plus 1.5 on that puck line. They've covered the puck line in their last 4 as a dog, and I expect them to keep it tight. And we have seen these meetings between them be tight. So that's where I'm going with this one, you guys. Goal scorers, you can look at Zach Hyman here for the Edmonton Oilers. He is so strong at getting those points on the board as well as the goals. And then I would look at Kempe and Kopitar, like I said, for the Edmonton Oilers. Okay, Jo, so you've been able to go on and get Calgary over 3.5 goals at plus 110. That's definitely a really strong way to go against the Chicago Blackhawks and Peter Mrazek. Calgary's been able to go over this both times facing the Chicago Blackhawks, and yes, they were at home, but I expect 4 goals out of them. Now, could we see that 4-3 style game? Absolutely. I trend to think, especially if it's Dan Vladar, that Chicago, off of what they did versus the Oilers, should be able to put up 3 goals as well. So higher scoring one in that one. So let's make some freaking money today, you guys. Let's run through that recap and then get on with the day. Happy Monday again to you guys. So the Florida Panthers taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. I want the Florida Panthers in the first period on the puck line, laying that half a goal. We're going to get great plus money. Then I want to come back in on the Flyers with the look-ahead situation to the New Jersey Devils. I do think Florida could collapse in the third period, but looking at them coming off an overtime loss to the Boston Bruins, you're going to get that fire out of them to start. Give me Matthew Tkachuk for the anytime goal. Give me the Florida Panthers first period puck line. Give me the live bet on the Philadelphia Flyers straight up on the money line after they go down in this game after that first period. The Calgary Flames versus the Chicago Blackhawks. I love that the over 3.5 is plus 110. Jo found that on his book, so go over and find that number, you guys. I think Calgary can put up the goals in this one. Now, if it is Dustin Wolf, I'll stay off the full game total. I'll just look at that. But if it's Dan Vladar, I will take the full game to the over, as I think Chicago will be able to score on Vladar. That being said, they should be able to put a couple on Dustin Wolf as well, because he hasn't been as strong out there on the road as he has been at home. I'm going to look at Sharakovic for the point tonight for the Calgary Flames. I'm also going to look at Huberdeau for the anytime goal. I do like this first period to be a higher scoring one. Give me the over 1.5. Both teams to score in the first period as long as it is Dan Vladar. Now, Donato has been able to get those goals on the board for Chicago in their last two. Tyler Bertuzzi and Tara Vinen are also your go-to playmakers here, and Connor Bedard for Chicago. The LA Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. This is going to be a tight battle, one that I hope Edmonton can get out first so we can come back in with more value with the LA Kings plus 1.5 on that puck line. Too juicy right now. So I do think this is a higher scoring game. I love this game to go to overtime. We should be getting the overtime bet right around plus 300 for these two teams. I will be hitting on that. If you're getting like a plus 250, I would still hit on it. So I think it's going to be a complete battle between them, especially with the Kings off the loss to Calgary. They know that Edmonton destroys them in the postseason. They always come out hard hitting, complete battle out there on the ice. Kings so strong defensively, but to slow down Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, Leon Draisaitl is absolutely impossible for some of these teams. So I'm going to look for Edmonton to be able to get those goals. I think Edmonton comes out strong in that first period. If you want to look at Edmonton in the first period, and then that's what I'm hoping for, the Kings come back on that puck line. So Edmonton first period puck line, definitely another way to go as well. Kempe and Kopitar for the points tonight. For the LA Kings, if you just want to take the goal and the assist, Kempe for the goal, Kopitar for the assist. And then for the Edmonton Oilers, I will look at Leon Draisaitl here for an anytime goal, Zach Hyman for a point, Connor McDavid for a point. You can play around with those guys, parlaying all three for the point tonight as well. So you guys, that is where we are going tonight with those bets out there on the ice. If you want a little 4-leg parlay, yeah, let's build it. Favorite NFL picks, you have to check out the SportsGrid app. I am rolling hot with the Minnesota Vikings tonight. I will have all of my bets up there, but I do think the Vikings, even though, the Browns have won, I'm going with the Vikings to be able to come out nice and strong. So I can't build that player prop parlay, Mo. I apologize for that. Everything is locked on FanDuel, so I can't give you odds. But if we are looking at where I would go with a player prop parlay, give me Kempe for a point and give me Leon Draisaitl for a point in that late game. When we look at Calgary and Chicago, I want to stay off that one. I'm going to put Matthew Tkachuk in for the Florida Panthers. And then when I look at the Flyers, I'm going to look at Travis Konecny here. Travis Konecny has 20 assists, 50 points on the season. So 20 goals, 30 assists. So 50 points. So give me Travis Konecny for a point, Matthew Tkachuk for a point, Leon Draisaitl for a point, and Kempe for the point. That's my 4-game prop. Yeah, over on the SportsGrid app, you definitely have to check that out, Mo. My Madden Quickie will be up shortly here. So the SportsGrid app is absolutely fantastic, you guys. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go over and do so. Not only myself, but you can follow all of the hosts over on SportsGrid, and all the shows are live on the app as well. So you can listen into the show, and you don't even have to have the app open. It can just play in the background of your phone as well if you're up to other stuff. So definitely a great way to go. I will see you guys back here tomorrow at noon Eastern. I've already started diving into tomorrow's slate. We've got a loaded day out there on the ice tomorrow. So definitely a lot of work to put in between now and tomorrow at noon Eastern. So make sure you guys come over and join me. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here today. Well, let's make some freaking money. Bye, you guys.